is Chen, or Chen in Israel, and I lead the blockchain for EY in the US. And what we're doing is working with our customers in order to develop blockchain solutions. I think what's different about this panel and what we're going to try to discuss here is how blockchain is influencing not just financial services, not just crypto, but enterprise in general. And just to open the discussion before we let each person present himself and or herself and what they're doing in the blockchain area, I'm going to say a few words about how we see blockchain impact enterprise. So the way we look at it is the same way if you think about enterprise resource planning or ERP systems and how ERP systems influenced the enterprise world 25 and 30 years ago. So before ERP, an organization ran an inventory system, ran an HR system, finance system, etc., and a management meeting would be each manager coming with his own reports, and a management session would mainly be used in order to reconcile all these reports. Once ERP came into the world and put the entire enterprise on a single set of processes, single set of master data, single set of reports, enterprises could stop reconciling and start taking informed decisions on how to go forward. And I would claim that this is what created the opportunity for the giant conglomerates that we see today to grow. And fast forward 30 years, ERP systems are already in enterprise, are already a done deal mostly, and enterprises see themselves very, very nicely, but the challenge there is that they only see what exists within their own four walls, maybe a bit of their suppliers and a bit of their customers. And the opportunity for blockchain is to create a layer that connects all these ERPs and creates a single version of the truth for entire ecosystems, from raw material supplier and all the way to the end customer. And this is the real opportunity that we see in terms of what blockchain is going to do in the next 3 to 5 years. And I think that what we're going to discuss here today is different projects in this space, and how we take this already and make it a reality today. I'll start by just approaching one by one, and maybe Rodrigo, I'll start with you, and if you can introduce yourself and introduce the project that Merck is doing around blockchain.
Sure, thank you. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay, so my name is Rodrigo Santibanez. I am responsible for global key accounts at MSD, Animal Health. I'm also responsible for consumer affairs. In my team, we are a commercial team, so we're in sales. I'm a sales guy doing blockchain. So I also have the privilege to lead the blockchain side at MSD from the business perspective. So for us to be able to do this, we had to have a short-term objective along with the big picture. Following up on what Chen is doing, so we are in the business of producing medicines for animals, vaccines, for example. And sorry, thank you. And one thing that is very important in this business is sharing what products are coming to what production. So if you picture a chicken production, there's chickens being hatching every day, and they need to be vaccinated. And it's very important for these companies, our customers, to know what vaccines are available when they are coming, so they can program their productions. Imagine trying to share this information from our production to their distribution with different customers that have different ERPs. What we saw in this blockchain technology was the ability to share this information in a fast way, in a non-central way, with many organizations, with a much lower investment that it would have for us to have our SAP system to talk to the SAP system of customers like ours, like Tyson or JBS or companies like that.
So knowing the project a bit, I will explain in more technical terms what we're doing. So we are taking production systems or production data from SAP of vaccinations, tokenizing the vaccinations as ERC 721 tokens. So each vaccination becomes a unique token on the blockchain. And then as these vaccinations leave the Merck or the MSD, sorry, warehouse and go along the supply chain to the point where usually MSD would lose visibility, we are able to track these vaccinations all the way from production until the point they are sprayed on the chicken. And eventually we are able to say, not just to provide the full visibility, but also identify which chicken house has been vaccinated and which hasn't, which is a very big deal, definitely in the US with the FDA moving very quickly into that direction. So, Rodrigo, can you speak a bit about challenges and the way forward in this project?
Sure. So MSD is a traditional pharma company where the majority of the investment is done into the R&D of products. I think the two big challenges that we faced when we started was one, we explore blockchain at the request of one of our business stakeholders, right? So how do we find just implementing it was not going to work for us. We had to identify what it would do for us, and then we had to justify the investment. And then going to the board of our executives and myself and explaining them why we were going to spend money on doing this and what was the big picture, along with the steps and short wins and short business cases to do this was the main challenge, figuring that out internally with my commercial team. And then once we've gone through that, the believing on the platform, right? This is business commercial people that is not used to invest in these areas. I think that once we went past that, it's been easier for us. And then, of course, what's helping us right now is everywhere in the media, right? So everybody's reading about blockchain, and that's helped us for sure.
Thank you. And maybe we move along and come back later to the question, where are you going to be 1 year from now? So, Sophia, when we discussed earlier, you mentioned the fact that we are fortunate to have very different perspectives of this enterprise blockchain industry. So can you please introduce yourself, introduce the project and the angle that you are bringing to this?
Thanks, Chen. So my name is Sophia Lopez. I'm one of the founders of Kaleido. We are a blockchain business platform. We're running thousands of enterprise networks around the world. I guess from our perspective, it's been really fascinating seeing these business networks coming together. We've built a whole B2B tech stack for what businesses need to adopt these decentralized technologies. And really, we're founded with the mission that we wanted to accelerate really the adoption of blockchain so people could get to the business benefits. I think, Chen, you made a great point about how ERP systems now are decades old. Clients would often say it was like pouring concrete into the foundation of their business. So now as they're looking to digitally transform, they want to both look at an evolution, so better, faster, cheaper of existing business processes, and then also looking at the revolution, the whole new business models that these decentralized technologies can open up. I think examples of what we're seeing across industries, the clients that we're working with that are really interesting. Think in the non-fungible token space, and you mentioned that's being used in the Merck use case. Digital collectibles, so Sony, Fox, Heineken, really trying to reach consumers, their end target audience in a new way. So, Goosebumps, new movie released, or Deadpool, that was actually on the digital collectibles on blockchain to help with sort of the marketing digital campaign efforts, running on Kaleido. Digital couponing, so T-Mobile's a very large phone carrier in the US. Kroger's the largest supermarket chain there. So they have T-Mobile Tuesdays for all of their cell phone subscribers. They get coupons dropped right into their phone. So this major retailer supermarket chain said, by using blockchain behind the scenes, and people, consumers didn't even know it was blockchain enabled, we can just give much better coupons because we're eliminating a lot of the fraud and waste, lack of transparency in the ad tech space for digital coupons. So they've had, 500,000 consumers for just one promotion that particular Tuesday download and redeem these coupons, 65% marketing engagement and redemption, which is just off the charts for a marketing campaign. domestic remittances, financial
So
inclusion.
if I may, this you mentioned something that is really interesting to me as well. So and also in the Merck in the MSD example, your legalities are driving me crazy. We are in Israel, we can call it Merck and deal with the legalities later. So in the Merck example, eventually we are asking a farmer to participate in a blockchain. The same thing here. You're asking a consumer that they don't know, they don't care, the same way that they're using their phone without understanding how the internet works, right? So a part of the magic is to get all these people who maximum will use their cell phone to participate in a blockchain ecosystem, right? So can you say a few words about that?
Um, well, I think it's interesting because they're participating because of the benefit they're getting. The major brands are participating. Again, it's just part of their core now go-to-market strategy. Blockchain happens to be sort of the technology underneath that, but it's not something you need to sell the project or sell the benefit. It's the business benefits or the consumer value is why they're participating. And it's great. I mean, we see that across a number of use cases, not just this one, where we've gotten past the sort of it's a POC and it's just a cool sort of tech you sprinkle in there to get interest, to where people are adopting it because it really makes the most sense. I guess a couple other examples, just solving age-old problems around financial inclusion. So Union Bank, the Philippines, and basically working with hundreds of rural banks to help the unbanked in their communities, starting with domestic remittances. World Bank, IMF is another example for starting with EdTech, and now they're rolling out multiple other use cases as well. There's a great trade finance in the commodity space that Didier is going to talk about that we're involved with as well.
So you can say, can you say a few words about that? It sounds great. What are the challenges?
To challenges from which perspective?
To get this adopted, implemented, etc.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I guess we were looking at it when we founded Kaleido from the challenges of the enterprises that really want to get to the value. We've been in the enterprise space since 2015, launched industry's first platform, a managed service platform, and 2 subsequent generations. It came to ConsenSys to build Kaleido to really solve the challenges, which is first at the sort of the proof of concept level. It's getting your arms around the technology, distributed P2P networks, heavy crypto, new programming languages and frameworks. So a lot of companies just, it's a skill set that's hard to find in the enterprise space, and just wiring the nodes together and keeping them up was, people got stalled at the POC phase. Then some clients did manage to get into a pilot where you have real data, you have multiple participants. It sounds, like Merck is in that phase. And you run into the what we call shared IT problem. Because as you mentioned, in the ERP world, everyone has a siloed view of their data.
Exactly.
Now everyone has a common view of the data, common shared business logic. So they are basically doing IT together for the first time. And something as simple as how do you onboard a new member becomes challenging. The policies, the governance, so all the tools and workflow hadn't been built. So this is one of the core reasons why we launched Kaleido. And really the third challenge is when you move into production, how do you integrate with existing systems and sources of data? And you need all of the enterprise requirements around business continuity, hardening, scaling, high availability, disaster recovery. So need to bring all of that, discipline and hygiene, the compliance, ISO 27K, SOC 2, all of that you're going to need.
Right. So I would say that at least from our experience, the technology part we count on our technologists to solve, and the real difficult part is getting the ecosystem onboarded. Much more challenging. And Didier, let's turn to you. Can you say a few words both about yourself and give an example project, please?
Sure. My name is Didier Floch. I work in ConsenSys. I'm an architect, and I also do business development in the space of global trade and commodities. It's a space where we've seen where people recognize that there should be a lot of value for blockchain because it's a very antiquated industry in some respects. And in the commodities industry in particular, there are also challenges in the KYC, on the compliance side, so for people to really engage with each other. And so one of the big projects that is public and I can talk about is called ComGo. It's an open financing platform It was initiated by 10 very large international banks, amongst them Citi, SocGen, ABN AMRO, ING, etc. And also 4 energy companies, so Shell, Gunvor, Koch, and Mercuria. And the purpose of the platform, so it's a decentralized platform based on enterprise Ethereum technology. And the purpose of the platform is to really address the pain points of this industry, which has a lot to do with operational processes, right? When you move commodities from A to B, you need to exchange a lot of documents. There are issues of trust between the parties. There are, of course, financial risks. And so the main purpose of the platform is to allow participants to request and issue letters of credit to their counterparts, to also discount invoices to optimize their working capital. And there's another aspect of the platform that is interesting that tries to address the specific pain point of KYC. So in commodities, KYC is a real huge pain point because it's an industry where you can trade oil in obviously regions of the world that could be sanctions or certainly have issues. And the platform is also trying to address that pain point by facilitating and streamlining the exchange of documents between commodity trading companies and banks and accelerating the process of their onboarding, basically. I think if you have to summarize the benefit of blockchain in that industry, you would say, I mean, the initial benefits are quite simple. It's about sharing data while respecting privacy and confidentiality. That is very important in this industry. And it's also real-time execution, right? And digitizing processes and real-time execution, so going faster. Because being slow and the fact that the operational processes are slow have a cost to the participants in the industry.
Right. So actually, I am familiar with this specific project and with one of the financial services banks that is participating, and I know that at least from the legal sides, the lawyers are really making a lot of issues preventing this to accelerate fast. And I think this is a part of the challenges that we have, waiting for regulation to catch up.
I think it's very true. Because you can have some jurisdiction where the digitization of a particular legal document is going to be recognized and other where it's not. And so indeed the regulation needs to catch up. But the platform went live at the end of last year and we're ramping up the product features now. So in terms of the challenges, if we have to talk about that, because it's a good question, I totally agree with you that the challenges are mostly non-technical, actually. It's really about creating the ecosystem, convincing the people to come onto the platform. And that's a chicken and egg situation, because until most of the ecosystem is on the platform, you're not going to get all the business benefits. And that's the tricky part. From a technology part, we are very lucky to be using Kaleido to host the blockchain network, and clearly it solved a lot of pain points around hosting and deploying and running the chain reliably. So that's good. The pain point a year ago was that you had to build everything from the ground up yourself, pretty much. And a year later, the tooling has greatly improved. We at ConsenSys, for example, we have built a lot of essentially low-level technical and functional products that allow to clients to go to market faster and build application faster, so that the customer can just focus on the business logic and deliver value for their customer.
Perfect. And Konstantin, let's go to you. Can you? I know which projects you're going to present, but can you please say a few words about you and the project?
Yeah, thank you, Chen. My name is Konstantin, and I am Principal Technical Evangelist at Microsoft, and I'm driving blockchain ecosystem in Central and Eastern Europe, based in Moscow. And I work closely with big enterprises and corporates and different startups in the blockchain area, for example, like Waves platform. And as you mentioned, blockchain is the part of digital transformations many different industries going through. But I think one of the most popular use cases we're getting from supply chain. It's like very interesting scenarios, and blockchain is very valuable, automation, digitizing processing, and like removing intermediaries. And one of the latest cases I took apart, it was solution of 3M and independent software vendor Verizium. Verizium developed a solution to prevent counterfeit, And it's an interesting combination, like counterfeit, supply chain, and loyalty program. I'll explain what it means. So 3M was the goal to transform existing loyalty program and to bring new transformation to this area. So Verizium has a blockchain solution based on Quorum, Azure services, and different NFC tags you can put on different products. So we created first project with automotive division of 3M, and they put NFC tags, and any car specialist can, with the mobile phone, scan this tag. And what is interesting, the specialist will get information in the real time, even some video guidance how to use in the specific projects. And what is interesting, this is actually new business model for the 3M, because 3M, any actual product creator using blockchain can see and work directly with the customers without intermediaries. And the solution itself integrated with the loyalty program.
Wait, so I have a question here, and I think it's always asked in this area. Great, why not do this with a central database? Why do we need to distribute this?
First of all, yeah, good question. Since I have different departments, and it's not only for Russia or Kazakhstan or Belarus, it's going to expand to different countries. So blockchain give you an opportunity to bring different organizations, even inside big one organization, different departments and different third parties in the supply chain to one unified platform, and to work with it in the real time.
Right. So the way I look at it, there's two aspects. One is the trust aspect, which is a decentralized platform. I can trust much better than a centralized platform that someone owns the data. And the second thing that is derived from it, if someone owns the data, he can monetize it, and then we get a Facebook or a Google and such.
Exactly.
And this is the reason why enterprise, and not just individuals, but also enterprises prefer this method of decentralization, because then you don't create a monster in the middle that owns the data.
Exactly.
Great. So talk about challenges.
I think I'm in the space almost 4 years, and 2-3 years ago, the challenge was blockchain itself. It wasn't ready for the enterprise. You mentioned ERP, how to integrate with the existing systems, huge problem. Security, confidentiality, how to govern this ecosystem. Okay, distributed, but so now we have many different tools, and we've seen examples, services that give in one click you can get any infrastructure blockchain with different blockchain platforms, enterprise ready, for example, on Azure. But you raised very interesting topic, distributed systems versus distributed database, or distributed ledger actually. So we in the enterprise can do digital transformation using database, okay. But as we just talked about, sometimes you bring the value of blockchain, the more different companies can join one platform, the more it's valuable. But you could bring even competitors, and now we have a lot of tools. Nice, enterprise is ready to work and implement any solution, but we have a new paradigm, how to work even competitors on the same platform, new business models, and we have new terms like consortiums, and the industry is learning in the real time, like now, how to work and how to bring new models, and this is the main challenge what I see in this specific case.
Right, I agree, and I see it in a lot of areas where you start to bring competitors into the same ecosystem. For example, I'll give you one real example that I know, calculating royalties for computer games, like FIFA, for example. FIFA is sold on Xbox, sold also on Sony PlayStation. And although the ideas are there and the technology is there, and it makes perfect sense to do it, when Microsoft and Sony come to sit on the same table, there's a lot of issues, and we definitely see, I would say at the beginning, the consortiums as a way to solve some of them, and later even maybe distributed applications would do that as well. Looking at the time, I just want to do a quick round of where would you be a year from now or 2 years from now in your project. Rodrigo, let's start with you.
Yes, so right now we are at the pilot phase with one product. What we hope to be in a year is to have more, to maybe move from what we call a manual pilot into more an automatic pilot, and then include more, more products for more markets.
Sophia.
Thanks, Chen. I think just in terms of the challenge of bringing ecosystems together, there's a lot we feel we could do to help. So solving day 0 problems, day 1 problems, and day 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 problems. An example of that is we recently, the ConsenSys algorithms, IBFT, you want to have, scale the network and have, more than 12 people who are being able to vote and participate. So we just recently announced that as a feature. I see us, looking as our network scale and the production networks sort of leading the way, continuing to bring advancements and innovations that they need as they're scaling to achieve the business case and onboard members. And I'm actually going to make an announcement about that as we conclude the panel as one example. But I think really getting to the day 3, 4, 5 problems of these networks as they grow and scale.
Didier.
As far as ConsenSys and myself are concerned, we're really focused on further building our stack of products across, digitization of assets, tokenization, payments. Lex presented it earlier, and beyond that, also business process management and document management. And I think the idea is ultimately to really be able to go to market fast and really accelerate the growth of this technology and the benefit it brings to customers. And as far as Comgo is concerned, I think next year is all about scaling. They're in production with a really good set of users and large banks and companies. And next year, it's all about scaling.
Konstantin, your turn.
So the use case I shared will expand for different departments. But about the industry, I think in 2020, we will see more projects will be commercially available. Actually, they started 2-3 years ago. And we'll see more consortiums. And I think the next year it will be much more about standards and interledger different protocols and to work together in digital assets, etc. And I think like Kaleido are more robust tools to building enterprise solutions. This is what I think for the next year.
Right. So my answer to this question would be if in the last 2 years and 1 year, we've seen a lot of successful, what I would call POCs or pilots, enterprises that I talk to are already more comfortable with the technology. They don't need POCs anymore. They know that this works. And the challenge for next year is to take more and more use cases, more and more scenarios into real production rather than completing successful POCs. With that, I think that we can conclude. Do we have time for questions? So we can take questions from the audience.
Hello, I'm Vladimir. So I would like to ask you, what's currently the case which comes in your mind when people ask you about the use of blockchain? The easiest one.
The easiest one. So I would say the most compelling one is I would agree with Konstantin that the tracking and tracing of supply chain across multiple ERPs and creating a single version of truth for entire ecosystems is the most compelling one by far. Agree?
Yes, I would agree. Actually, we have a project for the luxury industry, and indeed, it's probably the easiest. Yeah,
That's also the one that gives us more for our business, more of a short-term result that we can show the value and how can we generate revenue from it.
And I'd say it applies across industries, so track and trace, provenance, visibility. It's just a sort of a horizontal use case.
Jody Rich from People Browser. Chen, when you were speaking about the vaccine example, did you mean that you are tracking vaccine batches from lab to farm?
Yes.
And each player along the path can actually contribute, or are they just reading from the blockchain data?
So very good question. So what we're doing, we have two different kind of players. One player would be the player that runs ERP systems. The other player would be someone like a farmer that doesn't have an ERP system. The short answer is all of them are contributing, not just reading. So the farmer would simply use a phone-based app in order to scan the vaccinations. The ERP, the more sophisticated ERP users would just work on their ERP, be it SAP or others, and we just interface to these systems, and as they move products along their ERP system, the blockchain gets updated.
Actually, now that you're talking about ERP systems and the blockchain scalable inside the enterprises, how do you see that small companies will not be able actually to pay the fees to enter into that blockchain system, and then in a certain way you are like excluding that companies out of the business?
So I at least have a very provocative answer. The provocative answer that for this, for at least the EY answer is, for this to scale, this would need to go to public Ethereum. It will not be staying on private networks after Ethereum solves some of the privacy and scalability issues. But I'm looking for, yeah.
And it's not only a problem for small companies, right? It's a problem for big companies as well. Yeah, for us, we are a $45 billion company. It's a problem for us when we have competing investments to be having to pay to access blockchain. So I agree with Chen's answer.
Yeah, I guess I'll add in from the technology platform level. I mean, we're chose to go to market as a software as a service, so there's no upfront cost. You just pay monthly. There's various tiers. We recognize in these larger consortiums, there's the large players who want a lot of control of their nodes and key material, a lot of influence on the network. There's a long tail of participants who need to onboard in order for that network to scale and achieve their business value and ROI. So there's different levels of participation sort of matched to the sort of situation of each of those participants and how they want to participate. We're working at even at the protocol level with multi-tenant nodes and ways to onboard that long tail. So I think just making it really click button simple to join, get the highest levels of sort of security and participation across the network without compromising the network as you're scaling, but doing it at a price point that makes sense for each participant.
Didier,
yeah, just one more point. I think it's very, very important point that you make. In any network, you're gonna have small companies. They can't pay $25,000, $40,000 a year to engage in the network, right? So it's really about finding solutions to make this access cheap while retaining a level playing field, basically. So there's no two class of citizens. There's only one class of citizens, but the smaller companies might engage with the network through multi-tenant models, but yet benefit from the same cryptographic and privacy features overall.
I think I just can add that.
Go ahead.
First of all, permission blockchain probably still the evolution to public is probably
There's a few years.
still permission, but yeah, and access to consortium. This is the new paradigm, and the big companies who will validate probably all those transactions, and some small companies that will only write and use in this specific scenario for the specific platform or use case.
Okay, we're gonna have one last question.
Okay.
Hello guys, thank you for this discussion. So, because we have a short time, only for one of you this question. I'm from cybersecurity company, so that's why I'm interested in security and how do you solve it. My name is Sergio, I'm from SmartTech. So the question is, do you have the security requirements when you develop your products, maybe from government or from the processes in your companies? Do you have this and how you solve it?
So at least, again, the short answers, at least from the EY point of view, anything that we release goes through the EY cybersecurity approvals that are using, the standard highest levels of approvals. Everything is done, is not released before it gets these approvals.
Yeah, the question is pretty broad because you have security from the infrastructure perspective. Let's say we have predefined templates and you can get already secure infrastructure. But the second thing is the developer itself and how to check the smart contract or solutions that around or some web solutions that integrated with the blockchain. This is more responsible on the developers in the company, actually on the ISVs. And yes, of course, they have to deal with it and to know how to provide secure solution for the enterprises.
Thank you very much.